Hello, humans. This is Brandon with episode 56 of Not a Robot Podcast's DC Comics Review Show, the world's greatest podcast about the world's greatest heroes. Josh is resting up this week following some health stuff, but don't worry, I've still got one amazing co-host here with me. Josh.
I'm Rob.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Josh is resting up. Josh is resting. Sorry, it's because I had the same kind of thing for last week.
Yeah.
So I just had his name there. All right.
No worries.
Oh my God. I literally said he's gone and then I introduced him. Okay, let me do that again. Josh is resting up this week following some health stuff, but don't worry, I've still got one amazing co-host here with me, Rob.
Heidi, Heidi, ho, and more importantly, Heidi, Heidi, hey.
Ah, very good. This week, we will be covering Flash number 773, Nightwing number 83, Catwoman 34, Superman and the Authority number 2, Shazam number 2, and Batman Secret Files Clown Hunter number 1. And of course, make sure you stick around until the end of each episode to hear our top 3 books for the week, the biggest stinker, and to find out which titles might just make the dump list. But before we get going with the show, I just want to say thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who help out with $1 or more a month. And thank you listeners too. Like, download, and share episodes so we get more listeners and can bring you more content. You can get access to our Patreon and the rest of the Not a Robot shows at notarobotpodcasts.com. So with that out of the way, let's get into some news. Rob, what's new with you this week?
Well, just busy week at work personally. It's been quite the week. I'm just happy the weekend happened. We got a long weekend coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm happy. I don't know if Labor Day is a thing, at least on the same day in the U.S., but in Canada, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if we're that like kind of the first week of September, so we might be a little later than you guys, but yeah, it'll be nice to at least have a 3-day weekend. I don't have anything too crazy. I'm moving in back to school, so that was a little crazy and hectic at first, but everything's kind of settled now, which is nice. So we can get back to doing what we love and reviewing and reading comics, which is nice. Now, you said you had some movie news you wanted to get into?
Yes, so if it wasn't apparent to some, not only do we have a Batgirl cast, she was cast about a month ago. We have, and that's Leslie Grace. Mm-hmm. We have Blue Beetle cast, and I really hope I don't butcher his name, is Xolo Madruena, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. I don't have it in front of me to really sound it out. Uh-huh. And he's from Cobra Kai. He plays, and I can't remember his character's name, but he's like Robbie's mentee, or not Robbie, he's, oh my god, the main guy.
right
That's on Johnny's mentee. And we have Journey Smollett, who played Black Canary in the Birds of Prey movie. It was recently announced this week that she's getting her own solo movie.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, so that's gonna be good. She was one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Yeah, I actually still haven't gotten to see that movie, but I do think that Black Canary is a character that definitely has a lot of solo potential, and it'd be kind of interesting to see, what kind of story they want to tell with her. So, I hope it's really satisfying. Are you good? You were frozen for a second.
Oh, what? Oh, your sound cut out too. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was weird. On the comic side of things, I don't really have. We don't really have a ton of news. Just the DC recently announced the Robin and Batman miniseries from Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. who are an incredible team. Sure, you know their work from Descender and Ascender over at Image Comics. They're teaming together to do a not a Black Label Batman story, but I guess in all likelihood, kind of an out of continuity Robin and Batman story that's focusing on Dick's first year as Robin, kind of like a year one version for Robin, even though they already did a Robin year one, however many years ago. But I guess this is their new take on it. So I think that should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, the cover art looks really good.
Oh yeah, yeah, and DC released some of the previews for the interiors, so definitely check that out. I believe it will be out in November. But with that out of the way, let's get into some comics for this week. So starting us off, we'll be looking at Flash number 773. Rob, why don't you take it away?
Gladly. Sorry. So this comes from writer Jeremy Adams with art by Will Conrad, colors from Alex Sinclair, and letters by Steve Wands. Wally West has escaped the burning building Heatwave trapped him in just in time to talk to the fire department about the incident. One of the firefighters mentions getting to their part of the job now, which reminds Wally about his other day job at Terrifitech. Wally gets back hoping no one notices the fire smell on him, and finds his team going back and forth on an energy experiment. Wally flexes his multiversal mental muscle and solves their problem by recommending a different metal for conductivity. After deliberation, the three agree and head off for free food, leaving Wally to requisition the new materials. After using the very intuitive system, it takes barely a couple of seconds, and now Wally has to wait. He doesn't have to wait long, as he eventually gets an alert about a fire at the pier. Wally races off to find Heatwave making a scene. After getting people to safety and putting down Heatwave and his fires, Wally slows down a minute and talks to him, asking why he turned away from his reformed life. After some heartfelt words, it dawns on Wally that maybe Mick has cancer and it's not good. Wally convinces Mick to come in and promises to get him help. One of the cops mentions quitting time, which reminds Wally about his other day job at Terrifitech. Wally gets back just in time to set up the new materials for the team to get back from a very extended lunch break. They tell him he did a good job and he can knock off early. And he does, getting back to his family with some barbecue for dinner. Mick, meanwhile, has been taken to Belle Reve, where he is met by Amanda Waller to take him over to Task Force X, as we have seen in Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Also,
nice connection.
Yeah. Also in space, Yellow Lanterns Jessica Cruz and Slush are intercepting a fast-moving object, which is the sword we've seen last issue. They failed to stop it, not knowing its destination. This was a very interesting issue for me. I loved every bit of it. That moment with Wally getting the alert about the fire, it was so Archer-like.
Yeah,
his
yeah,
facial
definitely.
expressions.
But I do wonder. It feels like they kind of gave away the headline here. I mean, I know we were having they already announced the annual of Jessica Cruz becoming the Yellow Lantern, but
yeah.
I feel like we didn't even really get to see how that happened yet. We're already there, I guess.
Yeah, even in the Green Lantern book, even though it was kind of obvious, they were still trying to keep it somewhat of a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little annoying, but
yeah,
I'm very interested in what this sword is.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what it is that it's so powerful that it can break through constructs, but I'm definitely interested to check it out.
Beyond that, I'm just so happy Wally's back. This Wally is great. It feels like the 90s version again. He's just so full of heart, and he should be full of heart. He's always been the delight of the Flash world, where Barry was more of the by the book science. He had heart and soul, but he was very, very direct, and Wally was the type to slow down and like look at things for a minute and just have that heart and soul outwards in the hero world as well.
And I think Wally definitely kind of had the everyman aspect that a lot of people really were attracted to, where he's kind of younger and really trying to figure it out and what he wants to do with his life in terms of job and family and everything. And Barry, I mean, maybe not so much the more recent iterations of Barry, but Barry in the past, he was kind of married and had his job as a police scientist and really just kind of had it all together. So there wasn't kind of that constant question of what am I doing with my life and all that stuff. So I think that's what I really like about Wally, and I think it still kind of carries over in current day, where Wally's still trying to figure it out after everything that he's been through in the past couple of years. So I'm right there with you. It's great to see this version of Wally again, especially with the family and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for more. This is a great direction. I think it's a great dynamic with great art. This was an 8.5 for me. I love this.
Yeah, no, this one got an 8.25 for me, and it just has me really excited for future issues, involving Wally with his family. And I think the next one, or it might be the maybe the second to next one, is going to be a story with Wally and his daughter at a dance or something. And I saw the cover, and it just looks great because it looks very family oriented, and Wally's daughter has her Impulse costume, and it just looks like a lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But next up, we have Nightwing number 83, closing out the arc for this month, and that was brought to us by writer Tom Taylor, with art from Bruno Redondo, colors from Adriano Lucas, and letters from Wes Abbott. After narrowly escaping Blockbuster and the entire Bloodhaven Police Department, Nightwing faces off against Roland on the top of the apartment building before taking down the guys in the helicopter. Naturally, after a night jam-packed with reveals and action, not to mention the concussion that he's still recovering from the last issue, Dick wants to crash for a little bit, which puts him out of commission for 2 whole days, according to Oracle. With sleep restored, Dick decides to set out on his new mission for Bloodhaven, seeking advice from friends, family, close confidants, and, of course, Superman, the man who inspired Nightwing's namesake. Shortly after, at a press conference in Bloodhaven, Nightwing announces the Alfred Pennyworth Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to eliminating poverty in Bloodhaven and transforming the city entirely. And while this might bode well for some of the people in Dick's life, including the off-distant Batman, who even calls Dick to tell him how proud he is, some are definitely unhappy. Some, including the man known as Heartless, who announces that he will soon have Nightwing's heart before he can give it all to the city. Man, what an issue! What an arc, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I've definitely kind of mellowed out on my reaction to this issue when I first read it on Tuesday, because it really just grabbed me, and I don't know, it was so heartfelt and so genuine, and seeing Dick's conversation with all of his friends and family, but especially with Superman, really just it just hits you right in the feels. And I think even more than that was the scene of Dick kind of giving his whole speech of how he really wants to transform Bloodhaven, and how Alfred meant so much to him, and that's why it's called the Alfred Pennyworth Foundation. And it was so much all in one issue that I could not give it anything else but a 9.5 out of 10. It was just such an excellent wrap up to this arc, and it was just like kind of had me really almost emotional at the end, where this is just such a point of growth for Dick. And I know that gets said a lot, and who knows how long this change will last, but it just feels like genuine growth, where Dick really wants to impact positive change on his city. And I absolutely loved it, and obviously I think it definitely goes without saying, we say it all the time, but the art from Bruno Redondo is absolutely spectacular and really just captures the action and emotion of the issue. So I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I also absolutely loved it, and I finished it, and I was thinking that these last few issues felt really short to me, but I think that's because I'm enjoying them so much.
Oh yeah,
definitely. It's action packed. It's exciting. This new era for Dick is very exciting, and the creative team, I think, is the best choice to bring it in.
Yeah, and even though I hate thinking about it more than anything else, well, maybe not more than anything else, but I don't like thinking about it. I really think that this is a great point and choice of character growth following the Rick Grayson stuff, because that was just so anti Nightwing, where it's like, he's just wandering around aimlessly in a taxi with no idea what he's doing. And this feels like the perfect way to just kind of take both the good stuff that Nightwing has been through and the bad stuff that he's been through, including that, and just say, hey, this is a great time for him to really just be a positive force in the city. So that was the impression that I got.
Yeah, that's a really good way to go.
Hmm.
And I don't know about you, I'm happy Dick and Babs are together again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's probably going to be the audience that would prefer Dick and Starfire, and I
Oh
do
yeah.
love that pairing. I do, but I think I more preferred it in the context of the new Teen Titans and not so much the current pairing. I'm definitely, Dick and Barbara, ride or die. So
Exactly.
any time we get to see them together is always good for me.
Yeah, it's just such a good choice. And you're right, there has been some people already online going on about Starfire.
Yeah.
Just yeah, they were a good pairing too, but for me it's always gonna be Nightwing and Batgirl.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, that's the what's it called? That's the one true pairing at the end
Yeah,
of the
OTP all
day.
the way.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, just I seriously, like, if we haven't sung its praises enough, really go and check out Nightwing. It's such a great book, and
It is.
I, I do have one kind of complaint though, and this is not for this particular issue, but it's actually for the following issues, because I feel like this was such a great, not only transition from everything that Nightwing has been through for the past 2 years, but also just a really good setup for the new status quo. But it's a little unfortunate because we have this great setup, and then immediately after, we're being derailed into a 3 issue Fear State crossover,
Yeah.
where Nightwing has to go to Gotham to help out with the family, and it's just like, ugh, like, I understand you have to do your tie-ins and everything, and you can't really escape that stuff, but I just wish we could just kind of stay and focus on the main story instead of just completely derailing it. It would be like if you took 2 issues out of the current Robin book, where Damien's on Lazarus Island, and it's just like, Damien has to catch a plane back to Gotham City to help out, and it's just like, what about the tournament?
Yeah,
Like, don't just what the hell's going on? So that's my only complaint. I wish that I wish that we didn't have to just hit full stop on the main story to just tell a tie-in.
Yeah. Right, I can definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
It's a little awkward, but hopefully it's I don't know, maybe it in the comic world it's gonna take place in like a night.
Yeah, my
So it's
my
not gonna be like much was missed.
yeah, and I have hope in Tom Taylor to deliver a solid uh, both tie-in and Nightwing story. During Fear State, just I'm sure it'll be a really solid 3 issue story. Just it's a little awkward to just kind of completely sideline the main story and go into something else. But other than that, like I said, I absolutely love this issue, and I like I said gave it a very rare for me 9.5 out of 10. Just hit me right in the feels, and it was
Yeah.
just so excellent, such an excellent wrap up to this arc. And if I haven't talked about how much I love this book enough, if you just go online, to League of Comic Geeks or DC.com or your local comic shop or even Comixology, um, I just have to say it, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Rob. The covers to this series have been amazing,
Yeah.
but I honestly think this issue might be my favorite. It is just
Yeah.
so well done, of just Nightwing swinging onto the podium and changing right as he's about to make an announcement. Like, I couldn't even stop looking at it because it's just so dynamic.
Yeah, there's been some great like page spread shots for covers. Like the design has been amazing, but this one there's so much story in the one page.
Yeah,
It was
and
brilliant.
I'm like, seriously, I don't know if this issue is going to get a second printing, but I swear to God, if Bruno Redondo does another like excellent cover for a second printing, I'm going to lose my mind because it's like he's just so talented and he's already done these amazing covers for the main stories, and then he goes out of his way to do amazing second print covers. It's like, dude, I already bought the issue. God damn it, I can't double down.
I think 78 got a third printing even.
Oh, did it really?
I
Oh yeah,
think
yeah,
so,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah, but
They
yeah,
blew the water out of the cover on that one too.
I know. I'm just like, oh, you're killing me, man. But at least I get to look at it, so at least it's out there.
Yeah.
But did you give your score?
No, so this was also a 9.5 for me. It's just a
Mm,
solid issue, solid run, great wrap up. I'm fully invested in Heartless as a character.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think he's gonna
Heartless
be.
did sound a little bit like he knew Dick though, so I'm kind of curious if it's somebody from his past.
I think, yeah, I think it might be because he mentions something about, when Dick was Robin, he kind of made him or had a hand in making him or something like that. So, yeah, we'll see what the connection is. I'm sure we'll get an origin story at some point.
Mm.
Um, but
Black
yeah,
Lantern,
maybe.
Black Lantern, Mary Grayson.
Yeah. Oh man, would that be a twist?
So it's like the only thing I could think of that rips hearts out of people's chests,
Yeah.
apart from like Scorpion.
Yeah. 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 But no, only Jason gets the scorpion costume. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, with that out of the way, let's move on to our next issue, which is Catwoman number 34. Rob, take it away, my friend.
Will do. So this is from writer Rom V with art by Fernando Blanco with colors by Jordi Belair and letters from Tom Napolitano. Batman has saved Catwoman from certain doom with a cuddle session atop buildings as the city burns. As superheroes' ideal date, I guess. He tells her he can get her out to safety. She responds, asking if she left, would he go with her? With that, he goes to leave the roof, but not the city. Before that, he gives her info on Father Valley, Before that, he gives her info on Father Valley, and as he
Hmm.
puts on his cowl, she disappears, a la Batman. Her next stop, straight to, oh god, straight the valley to end that. Straight to Valley. Okay, I think because I said straight the Valley.
Ah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her next stop is straight to Father Valley to end this. She smashes into the tower he is residing in, but he was ready. 2 swords, 2 fighters, 1 winner. As they fight almost as equals, Selina's sword gets broken by Valley and she runs to regroup and tries things from her classic approach, quiet from the shadows. Unfortunately, Valley was prepared for that too. He cages her in the near room and reveals a remote-controlled sniper pointed right at her sister Maggie across the street. Fortunately, Detective Hadley had been investigating the ruined church. He found an overturned tub that Valley hid in along with blueprints to Alleytown. Hadley had begun to piece together Valley's plan and runs off asking his accompanied officer to call this in to Detective Riggs. Hadley heads to the building Selina's sister resides in and runs up to her floor. Back to the fight, Selina throws the broken sword at Valley, but it gets stuck in the wall behind him instead. She attacks, but Valley gets the upper hand and stabs her in the shoulder, as Selina pushes Valley onto the broken blade she threw. Valley, now knowing the position he's stuck in, pushes the button for the sniper and it fires. Selina runs and looks through the scope, but Maggie isn't there. Hadley got there just in time, but took a bullet to the chest. Valley jumps out of the tower and sets off a bomb that blows right where Selina was standing. Surprise! It's the last issue. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But seriously, this is such an exciting fight. I called it back in the annual that this
Mm.
fight between Selena and Valley was going to be just bloody and brutal, and it did
Oh, it
not
definitely was.
disappoint.
Yeah. They
It
really
so
didn't
much
hold
was.
back.
Yeah, it's been such a story. Now, I jumped on Catwoman with Infinite Frontier,
So did
and
I.
I started Catwoman back when it was fresh with Rebirth, but I needed to lessen my pull list, so that unfortunately got the chopping block. But I was still interested in. Do you know much about Maggie?
Yeah, just
I meant to look her up.
yeah, no, sort of in the context of the Ed Brubaker run, where she kind of came back into Selena's life and was captured by Black Mask, I think, and then that is a whole bloody story that you can read elsewhere. But that's really all I know.
Okay. Oh,
Mm,
fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was from this run.
Hmm.
Okay, well that yeah, I gotta look into this character because that whole dynamic is very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I'm interested in this whole story so far, and I'm liking it, that being said, I actually can't wait to get back to Leanne's story because might be the most interesting aspect for me.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely want them to kind of follow up on that and see what happens next because it feels like we've been focusing on Father Valley and all that stuff for a little bit. So it'll be nice to get back to them and the other Alleytown strays.
Yeah, hopefully when this is over, maybe next. I don't know what the story arc counts are, but maybe next issue would be the last of the arc, and we get back to something else because it looks like it's coming to a head.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say because much like with Nightwing, it seems like the next couple issues are Fear State tie-ins. So
Oh
it
yeah,
seems like we're hitting pause in the main story and then waiting until we get back to it whenever that's going to be. Probably sometime around November or December.
yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Still, I just hope for a long run with this creative team. It's been a blast.
Oh yeah, yeah for sure.
All in all, though, I gave this an 8.75 out of 10. Just a solid issue,
Oh
honestly.
wow. Yeah, no, it was just really great and just really great character work for Selena. So I gave this one an 8.5 as well. Wait, hang on, Rob. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stay in the room or yeah? Just because it feels a little awkward if you're just sitting there and I want you to just listen to me blather on. And if you need to pick up anything else, just text me. Okay. I'm just make sure we're good here. All right. I did not write down the letterer for Superman and the Authority, so I
Uh,
need to do that really quickly. Hmm. Okay, wait. Just give me 1 second.
mhm.
Let's see. Steve wants. Okay, there we go. Ugh, God, damn it! I thought it was just one color or colorist for the issue, but I didn't realize there were different ones. So now I gotta write all those ones down. All right, screw this. I'm just gonna read it straight from the thing.
All right.
Okay, next up we have Superman and the Authority, number two, continuing our big four-issue epic story. This was brought to us by legendary writer Grant Morrison with art from Mikel Hanin, Fico Ossio, Evan Cagle, and Travel Foreman with colors from Jordi Belair, Sebastian Chang, Dave Stewart, and Alex Sinclair. Letters from Steve Wands. It is team assembly time. In this latest installment of Superman and the Authority, we focus on building out the team that will take on the future. We meet Natasha Irons, who is in the midst of battling digital trolls given physical form. Yes, you heard that right. No, that is not a joke. Midnighter and Apollo, who are taking on a monstrous creature in Yemen, and June Moon, the Enchantress, who has been hoodwinked by her husband, who is in love with the Enchantress aspect and not June. Total soap opera drama. So what do you do in a situation like that? Well, you sacrifice your wife to a demon of hell, of course. Now a prisoner of Desamor, June is seemingly trapped in hell before being rescued and recruited by Superman. Was it all a dream in June's head? Was it real? We'll just have to find out next time. All these scenes are intercut with snappy and witty dialogue from Manchester Black and Superman and allow us to get a better feeling on their dynamic, which is absolutely great. So tune in next time to see where this strange assortment of heroes ends up next. This issue was just a lot of fun, and seeing Manchester Black and this older kind of I don't know, more stoic Superman, just working with them and working with the new team members and trying to get a sense on them and all that stuff was just really great and really cool to see. And um, even though we didn't really get a ton of progression in the story involving the main villain, I think it was just really cool to see, Superman and Manchester Black pulling this team together so we can kind of get a sense of how they might work together and what comes next. So I was really satisfied with it. The art from pretty much everyone was great, and I actually, this was one of those times I really enjoyed that it was different artists for different scenes, and I thought each one did a really great job of delivering. Um, and each one was kind of suited for the specific genre. So you had, Trowell Foreman doing kind of the horror one, and Evan Cagle doing the more spy-centric one with Midnighter and Apollo, and Fico Ossio doing the big, sci-fi action story with the Steel with Natasha Irons. So it was really great, and I just had a lot of fun reading it. So I gave this one an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. Now, I'll start off with saying the art is great. I agree with everything you said about the art, and the writing is very fresh and interesting, and I'm enjoying the book. Just quick question, do you know how many issues it is? Because it's a miniseries, right?
Yeah, it's 4 issues.
Okay, it is 4 issues. So it's very interesting, but I feel like it's taking a long time to get going. For only 4 issues, it looks like he's spending most of his time just getting the team together. There's only 2 issues left, and we barely got to even a plot yet.
Yeah, I think the next 2 issues are probably going to be pretty plot heavy, which could be both a good thing and a bad thing. I guess we'll have to see how it's handled. But for me, it just feels like it's kind of establishing this new status quo as kind of its main story right now before getting into what I assume, just based on the covers, the big showdown between Ultra Humanite and the other group of evil villains. So I guess we'll have to see how that comes to a conclusion. But the good thing is that each issue is a little oversized, so at least there's a
Yeah.
little extra room to tell the story. So my hope is that Grant Morrison and company will be able to use that, so it's not too rushed when it gets to the end. But I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. It's we still haven't gotten to the main overarching story yet. We've only gotten kind of a tease of what it's supposed to be. We know that Superman is assembling the team for, a purpose of taking on the future and everything, but as for what that means and how they're really going to go about doing it, we still don't have a full picture yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it really feels so far like the first story arc in an ongoing series, but it's
Yeah.
not. That's the problem.
Yeah.
For that, I feel like I'm not as invested in this book as I thought I would be,
Mm.
because I'm very interested in the idea of it, and I like the plot so far. It's maybe just taking too long. I don't know. There's
Oh, yeah.
something about it's just not hitting with me. I don't know.
Mm.
The writing's great, the art is great, the characters are wonderful. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the pacing. I don't know. It got a 7.5 out of 10 for me. I still really enjoyed it. It's just not as interesting as I thought it would be so far.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, and maybe it's just a little different for me because I'm just reading it in a different way. Not that you're reading it in a wrong way, just our
Yeah.
different interpretations of it. But I can definitely understand where you're coming from, and it's understandable if it's doesn't have you fully invested at the moment. So we'll see. Like I said, how it comes to its end, but I'm still super excited to see where it's going.
Me too.
But next up, we have another 4 issue miniseries, actually, another 4 issue miniseries on its second issue, and that is Shazam #2. So, Rob, take it away.
All right, so this is from writer Tim Sheridan with art by Clayton Henry, colors by Marcelo Maiolo, and letters from Rob Lee. Billy and Dane have arrived in the Underrealm and find basically Vegas with demons. They begin their search for the rock and Dane whips them up some fresh magic threads so they can enter a casino and ask around. Almost instantly, Dane gets pulled into a game of craps, claiming he's going to start asking around. And Billy leaves him there with the promise of not using magic to win, because house rules.
Of course.
Billy comes across a young female demon named Amarina, and after a little bit of flirting, she gives him a tip on who to ask about the rock, a man named Sulabak. Billy heads back to Dane, who cleaned up, but much to Billy's surprise, he used magic. Hot on Dane's trail are security demons who want to have a word with him using weapons. They get caught and are interrogated by the owner of this fine establishment, Sulabak. Surprise, surprise. He wants to know how Dane won when the game is rigged for the house to always win. Billy tries to call Shazam, but it doesn't work, so Dane gets in the way so Billy can run. He makes his way outside and is called over to hide in a tent by Amarina. She lets on that she knows a lot more about Sulabak than Billy would think, and she should, as he is her dad. Amarina peeks outside and sees the Rock of Eternity. She asks Billy if this is the rock he's looking for, and he hugs her in joy, but the moment is ruined as Sulabak finds them. Sulabak has Billy cornered as he tries Shazam yet again, and this time it works. Now strong enough to take on Sulabak, he puts up a good fight until his powers stop working again, and now he's stuck in Shazam's body. Sulabak has him trapped until Dane reveals his own secret. He flies up with angel wings and a flaming sword, saying his name is Nevermore, the son of the Underlord and heir to the Dark Realm, and he's had enough of Sulabak.
Oh boy.
Great issue. Wonderful artwork. I'm invested in the story. The cover gave away the ending. This is the
really
Batman v Superman trailer all over again.
I know, what a bust, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I've said it on here or if anybody's ever agreed with me. I'm the only person I've ever heard bring this up, but the final trailer for Batman v Superman, as much as I was excited as everybody else was to see Doomsday, my second reaction was they gave away the third act. And they did.
Yeah.
And I will forever think the movie would have been better received, still not as good as it could have been, but better received if the ending was not given away in the trailer.
Yeah, I think they definitely kind of ruin the chances for any kind of surprise in giving away the main villain. And I understand you kind of have to market it and promote it and get people excited, and showing a tease of Doomsday and something like that is going to have all the comic book websites losing their shit.
Yeah.
And that'll drum up excitement. But yeah, talk about giving away the ending right there.
Right.
That was exactly what I was thinking, where I was just like, are you serious? It was literally right there. There was no surprise.
Yeah, and they tried to cover his face, but his hair was a dead giveaway.
Yeah, it's like, and he looks the same. It just kind of unfortunate.
Good cover.
Yes, yeah, and I really think that I'd been kind of iffy on Clayton Henry at times, where I found his really just his faces to be kind of elongated and gives him really big foreheads, and it's still kind of here, but I do think at least with this and the recent Huntress backups that he was doing with Mariko Tamaki, I've just been really impressed with his artwork lately, and I thought it was great here, especially when he's drawing Shazam. I was just really impressed. I really like the way that he kind of draws the costume and everything. I know that sounds like kind of corny, but it just looked really great. And I really did enjoy this issue, even if it's just kind of a solid issue. Nothing particularly stand out, just kind of continuing the story. But I definitely enjoyed it. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, this is an 8.25 for me. It's still really enjoyable. I'm curious to see where it's going to go, if it's going to go in a different way from what we've seen in future states, but probably not. We'll see. Because the whole Teen Titans timeline in Future State was kind of confusing. Like, things were going back and forth, so I don't even really know if this whole situation of Billy being in the Underrealm is tied to him staying there and Shazam coming out, or was that tied into like the 7 Deadly Sins getting out? I don't remember now. It was so long ago and so confusing.
Yeah.
Very exciting still, but...
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I guess we'll see. It's but my guess is in all likelihood, like with many of the other books, they'll go in a different direction. But I'm sure there will be some elements of the future state stuff that echo back into the past, and I wonder, what kind of effect that's going to have on Billy in particular. I'll have to brush up on those the Shazam future state stories. I kind of forgot some of
Yeah.
the stuff that happened in them. So yeah, cool stuff. All right, should we get into our final issue for this week?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So closing it out this week, we have Batman Secret Files, Clown Hunter #1. And just give me 1 second, listeners, because once again, your delightful host forgot to write down the credits. So let me just do that right now.
Oh, while you do that, I should have asked earlier. How was the move? How did it go?
Oh, it was good. It was pretty easy. I pretty much got most of my stuff moved in within, 2 days or so. But thankfully, it wasn't like it was kind of crazy at first, just trying to figure out, where we're supposed to go and everything, and that could be hectic. And that was a little hard at first, but other than that, it settled out pretty easily, which was nice. So
Good.
I'm just glad most of it is over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always stressful that day, but then,
Yeah.
yeah, you get a little bit easier as the day goes on.
Oh yeah, for sure. But this issue was brought to us by writer Ed Brisson, with art from Rosie Campe, colors from Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters from Simon Boland. Clown Hunter goes after a clown named Saul, who apparently has been talking up the Joker. We find out that he's been working directly under Punchline. Clown Hunter has the snot nearly kicked out of him by Saul before Punchy reveals it was all part of her master plan to take Saul off the board and take out Clown Hunter. He fights off an army of more clowns and nearly avoids death by hanging after a quick save from the Red Hood. Jason offers to train Clown Hunter, and Clown Hunter naturally tells him to fuck off before running off to get into more mayhem. If that review sounded short, that's because this issue essentially is. I didn't really go into some of the backstory for Clown Hunter and his time at Gotham Academy. It does go into that and the fact that he was experiencing some very severe bullying, but it was really, like I said, just more backstory on the character and not really tied into the main issue overall. But yeah, this was just kind of a very short, almost quick check-in issue, and I know it was an oversized issue, but I could not tell because it went by so fast, and I
Yeah.
think it just didn't have a lot of story there. I think Clown Hunter is an interesting character, probably one of the more interesting characters that has been introduced in this new era of Gotham, but yeah, I don't know. This issue was just kind of okay for me. It if you really really like Clown Hunter and you're into learning more about him, this issue might be satisfying for you. But for me, in the words of Punchline herself in this issue, kind of a disappointment. It was really just more of a short check in on Clown Hunter, and that's it. And I'm not that invested in that particular story. I thought it was well written and well delivered. I thought Ed Brisson, who is a writer that I like, and Rob is a fellow Canadian, so you got a little representation there. I
Yeah.
think he's from Nova Scotia, so he might be a little further away from you, but
Oh, yeah.
I think he
We'll
said
be
he
in time.
had lived in Ontario at some point, so I'm not
Most
sure
people do.
how close it is. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, I think he's a very solid writer, and did a solid job with the story and the script and everything. It was just kind of an okay story, and I don't want to be mean to the artists involved in this issue because I thought there were some panels that were decent and some panels that I thought were pretty good and some panels that were just not that great. But I really just felt like the artist who did the cover for this issue should have done the interiors. The cover is just so great and it's so detailed and it's so well done. And it's like, I don't know, I felt like I was almost getting scammed or something. Like I look at this beautiful cover and then I flip it open and I'm like, oh, Oh, I guess we're getting this. And it feels mean, and like I said, I feel like she did a decent job with the action and some of the facial features, but other than that, not too much. So I ended up giving this one a 7.5 out of 10. Just a little bit of a disappointment.
Now, here's where it's funny for me because I 100% agree with everything you said. It's exactly how I was feeling while I was reading it and when I was writing my review, but I gave it a 7 out of 10
Oh,
because it kind of missed the mark a bit more for me maybe.
and maybe.
Yeah, the art was definitely, it was interesting at times, it was good at times, but other times it was a little sloppy, and the writing, I don't know, maybe I I just don't know how I feel about this character yet. He's a
Yeah.
very interesting character. I'm invested in his story, but his origin has been told so many times already through many different characters. He
Hmm.
lost his parents. He likes to kill bad guys. He was bullied as a child, and you could pick out different Gotham City characters where each of those has already happened.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's not, there's not much new to say here, except it's all just rolled into one character.
yeah,
And
and I
I think,
mean, even Jason Todd, who shows up in this very issue, which I thought was a nice, clever addition, right? Someone who
yeah,
would definitely be a good mentor to Clown Hunter because Jason basically went through the same thing. His parents died when he was younger, and he was kind of left on his own as an orphan and had to basically go through bullying at the what was it, Ma Guns like school or whatever.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, Clown Hunter is in a way just kind of a newer, younger version of Jason, but I
pretty much.
definitely hear where you're coming from, where it's like a lot of this stuff has been done before, and I think Clown Hunter brings an interesting dynamic to Gotham. I do, especially in this current iteration. It just I don't know this story. If you're someone who's like on the fence about Clown Hunter, this issue is not going to sell you. I gotta be
No,
honest.
just read Tinian's Batman. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, this issue I think was a good look into his head, into
yes,
just how he operates, but the rest was kind of slacking. I think this
yeah,
whole story with Punchline, it's literally just following. He's hunting clowns, just following his name, and he's almost one or two dimensional. He hunts clowns and that's it. He's
yeah,
not even like the other Gotham City vigilantes where they will go after any criminal. He specifically just hunts clowns,
yeah, pretty much.
but his weapon is fucking badass.
Yeah, I do think it is cool with a batarang taped at the end of the bat.
I love it.
And he certainly gets a lot of use out of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just
He's like a cheesy action movie where you love to watch him fight, but you could give two shits about the dialogue.
oh, absolutely. It's like literally exactly that. Where it's just like it's some
Yeah.
good action, but I don't really care about this character at all.
Yeah.
At least not in an emotional way.
Yeah. But
Um,
him working with Red Hood, if they do want to invest in this character and bring him bigger into the fold, working with Red Hood is probably the best option.
I think so. I think so. And I know Red Hood's going to be busy in Task Force Z and everything. And so I don't know if they're going to be bringing in Clown Hunter, to that series because that seems more focused on, the resurrected Gotham villains. But if they do, and, Clown Hunter and Red Hood kind of have a mentor mentee thing, I think that would be great and might be some interesting development for the character. But outside of that, I think you really hit the nail on the head where he definitely just feels very one dimensional right now, and
Hmm.
he he is a man who hunts clowns, and that is what he does, and that is what you get in this issue. So
Yep.
at the very least, I can say that there is no false advertising in this issue.
Nope.
Except for the difference between the quality of art on the cover and the quality of art in the issue. But if you are looking at this and you're just like, oh, Clown Hunter, does he hunt clowns? Yes, he does.
He does. That's
And
all he does.
yes, and does he, like, I see him about to beat up on some clowns in the issue. Does he do that? Yes, he does. So you're getting what is promised on the cover. No false advertising, like I said, but there just ain't a lot of else to really sell it.
That being said, though, I do wonder what's next for this character, and I hope they take him in an interesting direction.
Yeah, well, I looked ahead at some of the Batman issues for Fear State, and it looks like Um, he will be getting backups. So taking the place of the Ghostmaker backups will be yet another Titan creation. Ghost Hunt. Oh my God, I called him Ghost Hunter for a
Ghost
second.
Hunter.
Clown Hunter will be getting the backups instead.
Right.
And I believe that will be, like I said, starting with Fear State. So we'll see if he is teaming up more with Red Hood in that in those backups, or if he's just going solo. But hopefully, there's some more interesting stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now that that's done, let's break down our top 3 books for this week and a standout moment if you have one. So, Rob, let's get us started.
All right. So as always with this week, I feel like I'm just repeating myself with my top 3. It's the same. It's number 3 is Flash. Like there's always the same 3 books, but it's in a different order this time. So Flash is number 3. It was just a lot of fun, very colorful, very to the point about the character, and feels like coming home. Number 2 was Catwoman, very exciting, and I cannot wait to see how this ends because it's going to be even bloodier, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Valley's not down yet. There's more blood to come. And number 1 is Nightwing. Just such an amazing issue.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God. There's not much else we can say about it that hasn't already been said apart from, like, I know we were trying to come up with more words to describe it, and like phenomenal, I don't think we said.
Phenomenal, outstanding, stupendous.
Yeah. Flying. We'll say flying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of synonyms with Flying Graysons.
Appropriate for Nightwing.
But anything you see on a tent at a circus to describe the show, that's the Nightwing book.
Yeah, it's definitely accurate.
And my best moment is, I mentioned it earlier, is just Wally second guessing if fire is good or not. The facial expressions were on point, and it was so Archer-like. I loved it. I laughed out loud.
Yeah, it's that artist is really great at capturing those facial expressions. My top 3 are similar to yours. At number 3, I had Flash 73. Just another fun, great issue, and I'm really loving this new direction for Wally, and I want them to keep it up for as long as they can. And number 2, I had Superman and the Authority. Number 2, I'm still very invested in this and this team, and I'm just interested to see what happens next. I'm just along for the ride, and I'm just excited. But at number 1, so obvious, had to give it to Nightwing number 83. And yes, I know, I'm sure people are going to say, oh, you're biased because you already go in with a Nightwing bias. Yes, I absolutely do. No, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm fully aware of it. But I feel like even for someone who's maybe not that into Nightwing, this issue, this whole arc, could definitely sell you on it. And this has just been
jumping on point.
Oh yeah, and it has just been a really great arc so far. So I don't know when the trade paperback comes out, but I would implore all of you to just go and check out Leaping into the Light wherever you can find it. Such a great arc for Nightwing, such a great establishing for this new status quo. And my standout moment was very hard to choose because there were so many great moments from Nightwing that I wanted to choose, and I'm not sure, because like the way Bruno Redondo draws everyone is so great, and there's like a brief panel where he draws the Titans, and like I wanted to pick that one too, but I was on the fence about the helicopter sequence. But I feel like the one that really just have to give it to is, honestly, I couldn't even choose a moment, so I just have to give it to the entire 3-page sequence of Nightwing and Superman talking about what comes next. That was just absolutely wonderful.
That was really
and I didn't mention this in my review, but I do want to throw it in before the end. But there is a brief part where Superman talks to Dick about, his plans for basically going off world, because he'll be going off the war world, and John will be stepping up as Superman for a little bit. And it seems like there's a little bit of a tease that, Clark really wants Dick to kind of be there for John. And I think that is just such a great connection between the 2 books that Tom Taylor is writing right now, that I don't know if it's going to be like maybe a crossover between Nightwing and Superman Son of Kal-El, or maybe Nightwing will just have a cameo in a future issue. of Superman, Son of Kal-El, or vice versa. You know, John will show up in Nightwing, but I really hope that happens. They would have like I don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really think John and Dick have ever interacted at all.
No, well, I think there was awkward timing. That while Dick was Rick, I think John was in the future
Yeah, so it
or
just
in space.
yeah, and even before that, when Rebirth was kicking off, I don't think they ever really had a chance to connect because you know Dick was going back to Bloodhaven and was busy there.
Yeah.
So I really want to see them get a chance to interact and kind of have a bit of a role reversal where Superman is kind of this almost role model mentor figure to Nightwing, and I feel like Nightwing could definitely be that to John. So I
Hmm.
hope they get a chance to do that soon.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Yeah. All right, that was fun, but this is even more fun. It's time for.
Oh, that's nasty.
So, which title made your stink list today, Rob? I
I
think we are
think,
both in agreement on this one.
yeah, it's definitely. I think we have the same one. It's
Yeah,
Clown Hunter.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a shame because I was very interested in this issue before I opened it up,
oh
and
yeah,
when I closed it, I was less interested.
yeah. Just really, just kind of a letdown, and I don't know. It just kind of came away saying, I hope they have a plan for this character because
Yeah,
otherwise he's going to, you know, fade out very quickly.
yeah. Do we know what the next Secret Files character is?
I believe it is either Miracle Molly or Peacekeeper One. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it's Miracle Molly. It's basically all the new characters really,
Yeah,
with the exception of Signal and Huntress. It's mostly focusing on the new characters.
right. I'm still interested in that Signal story though. I wonder
Yeah,
when that's gonna come back.
yeah. Yeah, we got the Secret Files issue, but I'm hoping they can do some more stuff with that later. I hope they have more outsiders coming up because I would love to
Yeah.
see him there as well.
Well, they did tease that in Urban Legends with that
Yeah,
Outsiders 3. Like there's definitely something. I think in November they said.
yeah, I know they're doing the Fear State tie-in, but I hope there's still more down the
Yeah.
road. So yeah. All right, well, it seems like we don't have anything to add to the dump list this week, though we do still have the issues that we have kept on the dump list, and those have remained unchanged. That includes Justice League number 67, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow number 3, and Batman, Catwoman number 6. I don't have any strong inkling towards moving those issues back. I mean, I did read Justice League. No, not Justice League. I did read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow number 3. It was fine. I kind of enjoyed it, but honestly, I don't feel any strong desire to have to review it on the channel. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I honestly just kind of stopped
yeah.
after issue
I
2.
wouldn't blame you.
Was there an issue of Justice League this week though? I didn't see it.
Was there?
Let me double check because I know I didn't read it because I would be very interested in Justice League Dark, but I didn't see it. I could be very wrong.
No. I guess there was not. I don't know why we have Justice League written for this week. So I guess it's just Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, number 3, and Batman, Catwoman, number 6, both written by Tom King, I guess. So
Yeah,
that's how it is.
yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
yeah. I kind of Batman Catwoman's like a that's got a special place of annoyance in my heart.
yeah. It's just too much going on, to be honest, and
Yeah,
it was just really hard to follow. And I tapped out after issue, I think 4 or 5. I don't even remember, but I was just like, oh yeah, I was just like, "Ooh, I can't do this anymore. This is just too much."
it's just annoying because I enjoyed his run. It had its bad moments, but I really enjoyed the run he had.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And there was so much promise. Like I think he shortened his run initially. He was supposed to go over like 100 issues, but then he dropped it to like 86 or something.
Yeah,
And
80,
then he promised
86.
Batman Catwoman, and then it was a year delay on that, and then what we got was just messy.
Yeah, well, it just which is funny because you'd think after a year in development they would have spent the time to perfect it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure the story's good, but it's just, for me, it's too much back and forth. I can't follow it.
no, and I get confused as to like what the hell is even happening and which timeline we're in, because I mean it just juggling between past, present, and future. It just, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but the fact that there are no framing sequences to say like past, present, future, so you know where you are, just makes it
Yeah.
very difficult at times.
Yeah. And there's very little Batman in it, at least from what I did read.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly Catwoman.
Yeah, it's mostly Catwoman. So yeah, that one, I don't see that one changing anytime soon, and
Yeah.
I'll probably eventually go back and read the whole thing, but honestly, that won't be until the series is over. So.
Yeah.
And that's the show. We hope you had fun. We definitely did. Come back next week for more DC Comics talk, when we'll be reviewing Detective Comics number 1042, Infinite Frontier and number 5, the penultimate issue, Action Comics 1034, Robin number 5, Superman Son of Kal-El number 2, and because we have so many issues next week, we will be having a bit of a lightning round on several issues, including Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom number 4, Superman vs. Lobo number 1, Wonder Girl number 3, Teen Titans Academy number 6, and Batman Superman number 21. We'll be here talking comics, and we hope you'll stop by. Remember to go to notarobotpodcast.com for all of our episodes and our other shows with all sorts of people. With that, there's only one way that we say goodbye around here. Until next time,
Be good to each other.
and don't be a robot.